Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, as Nancy mentioned, I'd like to share something with you that I had a very close encounter with. And it's a subject that I've always kept very close, but recently a few things have changed about it that has made me feel so much better about life itself and just seeing how life can change or someone's experience can lead to a better impact on someone else's life. This experience started, I was around 3 years old as a little child. I was living in the island of Jamaica, and my parents would have me stay with my cousins, and they lived right next to an irrigation canal. So as children are, sometimes the grown-ups might lose track of where the kids are, and I was playing on the banks of the river, or the canal, and while playing there, one of my toys fell in there. So naturally, just like any other curious child, you would go ahead and you would reach right in and get your toy. So I reached right in to get my toy, and I fell in head first. I didn't know how to swim at the time. So naturally, I went in, and as far as I remember, I went in and I went straight to the bottom. I can actually remember thinking at the time, wow, it's actually kind of clear down here, a lot clearer than it looks from up top. Because up top, when I look in, it looks dark. But now, it's nice and clear, and it's got a nice sandy bottom. Keep in mind that I was 3 years old. I was actually drowning at that moment. So after being down there for a while, I don't know how long because I was 3 years old, my cousin came in, rescued me, and pulled me out. I later found out that they pulled me out, pumped water out of me. I literally drowned. As time went on, I realized the impact of that experience. Because I had noticed, I was 3 years old. I didn't understand what the concept of drowning is. Now, fast forward to 6 years old, and everyone's hanging out, simple things that you take for granted. I was taking a shower. Taking a shower had to be a whole process because I could not stand directly underneath the shower. I could wash my body underneath the shower, but could not fully immerse myself in the water. If I went to the pool or went to the ocean, I never went underneath the water. I would go underneath the water, and instantly my body would go into panic mode. It's as if someone was literally drowning me at that moment, and I would relive that moment. So as time went on, I thought to myself, I have to get over this fear. I cannot have this thing restricting me from living my life. I saw all my other friends, they were swimming, they were having fun. It looked like fun. I wanted to have fun and swim. So around 10 years old, I went to the YMCA and I decided I want to learn how to swim. And I signed up for swimming instructions. And when I did that, I was still scared. But I said to myself, well, I'm capable of holding my breath. I'll put my head underneath the water and I'll be fine. The instructor explained to me, he says, what I need you to do is to put your head underneath the water and hold your breath. I put my head in the water, but actually I put only my face in the water, down like that. And he said, no, put your whole head underneath the water. And he pushed my head underneath the water and held me there. Which, for anyone, even someone that could swim, can you imagine the panic that I must have went through? I think what I told him was, if you do that again, I will make sure you don't live. But I probably said it in a more meaner tone, but can you imagine that feeling? So I literally felt he was trying to drown me. So I said at that point I gave up on swimming, and I spent the rest of pretty much half of my life not being able to swim. As years went by, I got over the fear. I got over the shower thing. That was easy. I got over actually being underwater from just talking to people that knew how to swim, swimming instructors. I never had the courage to let someone teach me how to swim because I had lost that trust that day when I went to the YMCA. So I would talk to everyone and ask them, how did you learn to do this? How did you learn to do that? And then I would try it on my own. I'm the kind of person that I like to push myself out of the comfort zone. So that's what I did, and that's how I started my pathway to learning how to swim. I started off immersing myself in the water, then I went to floating in the water, and then, this is recent, 3 years ago, I moved to Florida. And the first thing everyone said to me is, you need to teach your daughter how to swim because Florida has water everywhere. My daughter was 3 years old at the time, And of course, I'm terrified of swimming, so I'm like, how do I teach her how to swim? But fortunately, one of my coworkers suggested, take your daughter to swimming lessons. They have drown-proof classes. And I go, drown-proof classes? I've never heard of this before. They said, yeah, it's awesome. You take your daughter there and she'll learn how to swim. So, you know, my wife, she wasn't very brave to take my daughter out to learn how to swim. She had heard my swimming stories. But I took her there because I said, I don't want my daughter to ever have to experience the pain and the anguish and the fear that I had from being able to not swim. So I took my daughter there, and sure enough, she was terrified at first, and the very first time the swimming instructor took her and pushed her underneath the water and kind of held her down there for a little bit, you know, you felt that feeling where you almost gasped for air, and I felt like I was her. But she came up, and she went in and took a nice deep breath, and then she put her back under again. But I knew that it was okay because I had made up my mind that I trust this person that's going to teach her, and that person didn't have that, I guess, the attitude that that other person had when they were teaching me. They didn't hold my head underneath. They explained to her what they were going to do. I'm going to put you underneath the water, and then I'm going to bring you back up. So she understood, and she trusted that person, and it wasn't someone she had just walked up to and did that. They spent probably 10, 15 minutes in the water just playing around, getting comfortable in the water, building up that trust before they went forward, and she went and immersed her into the water. So fast forward to that, in a few months my daughter became a great swimmer, and I was very proud to say that they pretty much dressed her up. They put on her jacket, shoes, jeans, everything, and then they threw her into the 10 feet deep section of the pool. And she was able to swim, and then she couldn't make it all the way to the end, so she pretty much did a float and then turned over and swam until she finally made it to the end and climbed out of that pool. That feeling, just knowing that she will never have to experience all of that pain, all that suffering that I went through, it just, words can't explain that feeling. And I just, you know, every day when I see her swim, I just feel so grateful for that. The part of it that's great is that while I was there watching her swim, I actually started taking all the pointers from that instructor. Now I'm able to swim. I can actually swim from one end of the pool to the other end of the pool. I only have one stroke, but I can actually swim. And so it's work in progress, and one day I'll finally get it all together, but I'm just, you know, I don't know, my time is up, but I just wanted to let everybody know that 7.5 out of every 100,000 children die in Florida every year from drowning. That's the equivalent of 3 to 4 classrooms of children that go off for their summer break and they will not go back to school because they will drown over the summer. And if it's anything that I want to share with you today is, I want you to go out and make sure you tell everyone that has their children to get their children into these drown-proof classes, get them involved in swimming classes so that we don't have to lose 3 to 4 classrooms of children every year in Florida. Florida has the highest statistics of children drowning than anywhere else in this country. And we have to do something about that. And that is what I'm asking all of you to do, is to please join me. Maybe not for your own children, but maybe for your neighbor's children, maybe for your co-workers' children. We want to make sure we go out there and get the word out that these drown-proof classes do exist, and anyone that is interested with any information as far as the class that my daughter attended, I will gladly share that information with you, but there's plenty of information online, and just would like all of you to get the word out. Thank you very much.